From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
And good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the Noon News. I'm Andrea Lutz. President Joe Biden is set to address Congress for the first time tonight. He is expected to announce his American Families Plan to include $200 billion for preschool. The investment would save families an average of $13,000. Biden believes the plan will pave the way for the best educated generation in U.S. history. Okay, we are all thinking about the weekend because it's supposed to be real good.
Oh yeah, it's great out there right now as we take a live look at some temperatures across Montana and Wyoming. We've got temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Now we do have this little quick clipper coming in from the north. Check out the northeast corner of the state where we do have a little bit of rain near Glendive, up there near Williston. That actually may be Virga. It's so dry that if it's spitting out rain, those clouds are spitting out rain, it's drying up, it's evaporating before it hits the earth. And we're going to continue to see dry conditions for the next couple of days. Big story is too that we've got some strong winds out there. You see gusts of over 35 miles an hour at Cut Bank, 30 in Great Falls, 35 in Helena, down in Livingston as well. This will calm down a little bit tonight and then start to kick back up again tomorrow ahead of another system that's coming in for the weekend. What's that going to do for us weather-wise? I'll let you know coming up. Andrea.
All right, Miller, thanks so much. The effort to recover the body of a 3-year-old Browning girl continues, and officials say she walked away from her home just last week. Investigators continue to search the Two Medicine River. The rescue effort was formally declared a recovery effort. In the early morning, the social media post by the Blackfeet Nation said heavy equipment was being used to clear logs from the river. 150 people are searching, along with helicopters and drones. Missoula County will consider lifting a mask mandate, but questions remain for what that means for their school districts. In order for the health board to lift the mandate, 60% of the county need to have at least one dose by May 11th. With only about 6 weeks of school left, though, some board members say why change the rules now when kids have adapted to wearing masks.
We are still seeing positive cases in the range of 5 to 10 positive cases each week. And so the COVID-19 virus is still active in some of our school communities. So there's several reasons why, at this point, the administration would not recommend a change in our face covering policy.
And the school superintendent says one of the factors that would make a mask removal a little bit difficult is the limitation that it would have on instructors. All right, so when there's supply, more of it than demand for doses of the COVID-19 vaccine, it can lead to waste. MTN's Annie Johnson explains what the problem is and when that happens.
At one point, it was a challenge to get an appointment for a COVID-19 vaccine, but now you can literally walk into a clinic and get your shot on the spot.
We're trying to get as many COVID vaccines into our community as we can. We're starting to see the demand taper off a little bit.
600 doses were prepared for the clinic at the fairgrounds, and based on previous patterns, about 20 of those doses will have to be thrown away from no-shows and cancellations.
The appointments have gone from really hard to get to a little bit easier, and now we're just really looking for people to come in and get these shots so that we're not throwing them away.
The doses have to be prepared before clinics.
We have to have a certain number of doses for the appointments, so we have those thought out and prepared. It's not just something that you take out of the fridge. You actually have to prepare it, thaw it out, and have it ready.
The health department has a team making calls daily to replace cancellations and no-shows, but it seems like the demand isn't as strong anymore.
We've hit the people that were demanding it, that were really wanting to get the vaccine. And it was a lower portion than we were hoping as far as the total number of people in our county.
Bozeman Health prefers appointments, but they're also taking walk-ins as well.
We're accepting all individuals, whether they're patients of Bozeman Health or not at this time. No patient will be turned away, or no person in the community or the surrounding areas being turned away.
And for those who are still on the fence,
this is a new vaccine, and I understand it's probably scary for most. But the methods of getting to where we are today are tested and true.
Neither the county nor the hospital has received any more Johnson & Johnson vaccines since the recommended pause ended. Reporting in Bozeman, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
At the Montana legislature, Republicans are ramping up their investigation into the state judiciary to determine if there's been some bias. A new bill would extend funding for the investigation for 2 more years. Republicans will also hire a special counsel to examine records, books, and files for state agencies, commissions, and boards or institutions. Well, Democrats are outraged by the investigation.
There's a separation of powers in Montana as well as nationally, and I think this committee was set up to try to impact the reputation of the judiciary, and I will be a no.
The committee will issue a report tomorrow morning, further outlining what it intends to investigate. The legislative session is expected to adjourn by tomorrow. A bill increasing penalties for repeat drunk drivers is now on its way to the governor's desk. It would increase fines and jail time for a 5th DUI conviction, including mandatory prison time after a 7th. 0.08 is the legal threshold for DUIs in Montana. MTN's Jill Valley tells us what all of this could mean.
No amount of alcohol is good when it comes to driving, but Montana's legal limit is 0.08. What is that exactly? We asked Community Medical Center ER Doctor Josh Holeksa.
So BAC stands for blood alcohol content, and it's a measure of the concentration of alcohol in the blood. So typically we think of 0.08 as the legal limit, and that means 0.08 grams per milliliter. Another way to think about it, if someone was slightly over the legal limit at 0.1, that means 0.1% of their circulating blood volume is alcohol or ethanol. The more people drink, the more they think they're able to drive, and that's what makes it really dangerous.
We know alcohol impacts concentration, coordination, reaction time, the things we need to drive safely. And for some, even one drink can cause impairment behind the wheel.
There are many different factors that can impact your BAC or how drunk you're getting. And those things include your age, your weight, your gender, how fast you're drinking, what you're drinking, do you have food in your stomach, are you on medication? Even altitude can play a role. The thing is, though, is that alcohol is going to lie to you and tell you you're okay to drive, when maybe you're not. So instead, maybe consult one of these.
They are $2 single-use breathalyzers called Think Twice. A dozen area businesses that sell alcohol carry them. Our volunteer is testing it for us today. It measures your BAC up to 0.08, and bar owners appreciate that it is a tool and not a toy.
When I realized that it wasn't a game, which a lot of those things tend to be, people check to see how high their blood alcohol is. This one stops at 0.08, so it just gives people a good idea of where they're at after they've had a few beers or a few drinks.
People are definitely buying them.
At Cranky Sam Public House, Jen Hagan wanted to participate. In fact, there are signs on bathroom doors that she hopes will trigger a sense of personal responsibility.
We want to make sure people are safe, so we brought this in as a tool to help people think about it, to be more conscientious about it, and to also realize that in Missoula now, there's really no excuse for it, because you can call Uber, you can call Lyft, there's still Yellow Cab available. Back a while ago, that wasn't available as readily, but it is now. And people do have an opportunity to make that choice now.
Both Mike and Jen are encouraged by some of the new ways their customers can make safe choices while still enjoying themselves. And while this single-use breathalyzer may not solve all of Montana's drunk driving problems, if it saves one life, then that was $2 well spent. In Missoula, Jill Valley, MTN News.
And you can buy those tests yourself for any event if you're hosting or serving alcohol as well. Okay, we have more ahead on the new news, including how officials in Billings are looking to revamp the Metro Park. We have some of those details coming up. And Miller is back in with a look at the statewide weather forecast.